Hello everyone, this is Thor Young with Bear Bull Traders, and I'd like to do a recap on my SRPT trade for you today. I also traded Oracle today, did well with that, made a couple $100, but nothing really worth highlighting on that one. So I really wanted to focus on SRPT because I just really think there's a lot to take from this trade. And I was really happy with it. So SRPT, Andrew had an awesome trade on this one. It got into it really well, but unfortunately by the time he was into it, it was just kind of well out of range for me, and I had already missed a couple of opportunities to get in, so I just had to be patient with it. I was pretty much done trading, just looking for one more good, really decent trade, hoping to get a nice dollar rip out of one of these or $2. And you can see here that SRPT was starting to push up. Now, let me go ahead and clear this level, because this level actually wasn't here when I was trading. So these were the two levels that I had really marked from SRPT to the upside. Once I started looking at it, I pulled back and just looked at pre-market, and I saw this level here where it had went up to and failed, and then it ripped up to, and this became a major resistance here at 135. So we've got two pretty decent resistance areas, and I noticed that at 945 that same resistance area has turned into a resistance area again, and it's real nice to see stocks respecting levels from pre-market, because that's a good indication that it's that the pattern is working, and that things like that are going well, because things are lining up across multiple time frames, market versus pre-market. That's why we like going back in history as well, to pull more levels. That way it's kind of, if all of these are lining up, that tends to be where the best levels are. So what I'm looking for to go on along on this one for a continuation up, especially since it was hitting against this level, I was really thinking about going for a breakout like I would normally do in an ascending triangle, which certainly could have worked. It did put in a slight ascending triangle here with all these price breaks, but with the stock with this much spread, an ascending triangle requires a lot of room. You need to be able to handle shakeouts and pullbacks. So I didn't really think this was going to work, and I didn't want to just jump into this one. So rather, I did one of the other things that I really like doing, which is you wait for the resistance to become support, and then you utilize the support as your exit strategy. So what that means is, as you can see here, we were pressing up against here, and then we broke through it on a nice bullish candle, and then came back and started retesting. So this same level that was a resistance before has now become a support level. And that's what we want to see. And you can see it retests it again, can't make it retest it here with some major indecision. So this support level is holding, and it's held over multiple minutes and repeated attempts to go through it. So I like that. So the only thing is we got to get in long, and we need confirmation of when to get long, and we need to manage our risk. So I wanted to take about 200 shares. I didn't really want to risk more than $100. So I needed, I couldn't really run more than a 50-cent risk on this one. So as soon as we made a new high over this indecision candle here, I went ahead and went long, with my loss being 33.61, and that gave me about a 50-cent risk on it. So it probably would have been $100 to $120 risk on this one with slip out. But it looked really, really good. And now keep in mind, it's when it made a new high. So it did a fourth retest and then went up and pushed before I went long. Also, on the level 2, there were great sellers at 135 all the way to 139. You could see them. You could see large prints coming in. You could see volume picking up. So the long was pretty easy to take. I only had to endure about a 10-cent or so pullback before it erupted and put on dollars very, very quickly, when I was really excited about that. So I had 100 of my 200 shares made the full trip all the way up to 138.84, which is amazing. So, that was a nice $350, $400 on this trade. And I've got some assorted partials here. And I was actually down to about 10% at 139. I was going to hold that 10% maybe for a run up one more dollar, and hopefully be able to squeeze another few bucks out of the trade. But really was pretty much done with it. And of course it came back and it stopped me out at break even. Which is so sad, but it is what it is, but captured a really nice profit on a very simple strategy with a very simple trade. And that's what I was definitely going after for this later day trade. So I hope everyone can kind of see how this works. Again, these levels are what we have a lot of different factors that we need to put into. And in the pecking order of things, I really personally believe that levels are stronger than averages. And then I think averages are also quite strong, but averages have to push into levels and you see those break out. But it really takes a lot for an average to push and break through a level. And once it does, if that level can hold, then you're really in the right spot to be. So you can see SRPT, I traded this completely off of levels I had pulled from pre-market, using L2 to confirm where the buyers and the sellers were congregating. We knew the stock was in play because it's got great volume and it's gapped up on news. So it had all the criteria for a nice continuation up. And with a very reasonable risk on a stock like this, was able to capture a nice solid, we'll call it a $4 move with only about a half of a dollar risk. And that's what we're here to do. So I hope everybody enjoys my recap today. I hope you guys can take something from it. Hope you all had a great week. Keep it green.